right, I'm going to call the March 14th Robeson Township workshop to order. Promulgating pledge allegiance and golden silence for all military personnel.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call Supervisor Joy. Mr. Rhodes. Here. Mr. Whitmer. Here. Before we get to citizens' concerns, I just want to make an announcement to everybody. I'm sure everybody has heard that our prior manager, Rich Warwick, has passed away from a longer illness. So if anybody wants any details of if they want to give anything to the township, talk to Rich at some point.
Those services are tomorrow morning, as I understand. I'd also further make an announcement regarding the YouTube. As you're all aware, we're streaming live throughout the course of the meeting. That's a video and audio recording.
Okay, any citizens' concerns? Name and address, please.
Good afternoon, Tim Bittler Jr., 1021 Gibraltar Road. It's my understanding that on the agenda tonight is the resolution regarding the operation of recording devices during meetings. I'd like to alert the board that, in my opinion, the resolution as it's drafted currently violates the First Amendment of the Constitution regarding free speech and freedom of the press. Additionally, I believe it violates Article 1, Section 7 of the Pennsylvania Constitution, as well as the Sunshine Act. The conduct at a public meeting, when it's a public meeting, it's a designated public forum that you have a right to free speech and you have a right to record what happens when the building is open to the public. It's no different than if someone came to this meeting, stood here and listened to what went on in the public meeting. If it is protected by the First Amendment, there is a test that the courts will apply to that restriction. And that's supposed to be content neutral, narrowly tailored to serve a significant governmental interest, and leave ample alternatives open for the public. And the government has to meet all three prongs. It's actually the burden is on the government to justify what it's trying to do instead of have the citizens justify why they want to do what they want to do. The current recording resolution, as I read it, does not pass, most importantly, the second prong of that test to serve a significant governmental interest. I reviewed the meeting from last month, the regular workshop meeting, and the only reason I heard, or the only governmental justification for this resolution, is to prevent the allegedly inadvertent disclosure of private information by citizens who come to a public meeting house when the building is open to the public. So if it's not something they would want someone to overhear if they were standing here, what does it matter if we're streaming it live on YouTube? I don't see the difference, and I certainly don't think that that's a significant governmental interest that this board should regulate. Additionally, there are specific provisions in the way the resolution is drafted I think should be amended before the board votes on it. Specifically, in the second whereas clause, the wrong section of the Sunshine Act is cited. It should be section 710 instead of section 11, which goes to what standard under the Sunshine Act applies to these regulations. Here it says it's reasonable rules and regulations, and I'll admit, in section 711 it talks about reasonable regulations, but it also talks about it cross-references another section, section 710, which says it needs to be necessary for the conduct of the meeting. It's a very different standard. When you have one specific section, statutory construction principles say that you should follow the specific section and not just a section that cross-references and misquotes the section it's referencing. Additionally, there are two contradictions. Section 1B states that no recording device shall be employed or record activities in the meeting room before the commencement of the public meeting, after the adjournment of the public meeting, or during a recess of the public meeting, or during a conference held pursuant to section 707 and executive sessions under the Sunshine Act. That contradicts section 1I that says that you can't operate a recording device more than 1 minute prior to the meeting and 1 minute after, and when it's in recess. So which is it? Is it one meeting before, or is it any time before? It doesn't make it clear in how someone's supposed to comply if you have contradictory rules within the same document. Additionally, it states that persons operating a recording device shall remain in a single location during the meeting and shall not be permitted to move. What it doesn't address is what we have happening here, where a member of the board is recording and streaming on YouTube and is away from the device itself. So as I read this, you're not allowed to move from where you're at during the entire meeting itself. So additionally, it says that no recording device may be operated, and there's no definition of what operation means. One of the most common things that an average citizen would use to record a meeting is their cell phone. The way this reads, the device must be turned off prior to the meeting. So when you walk in the public meeting, you have to turn your phone on. Wait till 1 minute before the meeting, then turn your phone on. Then record the meeting if that's what you elect to do. Exercise your First Amendment right to record the meeting. And then whenever there's a recess of the board, turn your phone off. When you go into executive session, turn your phone off. And when the meeting adjourns, turn your phone off. And then you can turn it on, I guess, when you walk out. So I think that that's very arbitrary, unreasonable, and doesn't serve a significant government interest in any capacity. Additionally, the resolution as drafted says that no recording device may be used to record private conversations or comments of the public which are not for public consumption. Someone who's recording can't control what somebody says in the presence of their device, and they can't control the intent of the other person to say it. So when someone's here and they say something maybe they shouldn't have, or they forget that there are other people that could hear it or have it be recorded, the person who's recording should not be subject to sanctions because of that. The most concerning thing about the resolution generally is that if you violate, I'm sorry, is there a question?
Yeah, there is.
Mhm.
Wouldn't it have been kind, since we all know you have access to the information, that you could have shared this in advance? Because you're not speaking in layman's terms. You're playing
What-
lawyer. And, no, you had your 3 minutes, but you're playing lawyer. Send a copy to the board. Let us address it. We can address you on Tuesday night. I think that you knew full well what game you were playing. He's already abused our solicitor, okay?
Excuse me?
I'm not
Wait,
speaking to you.
No, excuse me?
No, we're not starting this already. Enough is enough.
Mr.
Miss
Chairman,
Young.
she's
Hold on here.
alleging that I'm abusing somebody.
Everybody stop. This is not how the meeting will continue to go. I agree with Joy, if you get us your concerns and itemized, then we can review them.
I only have a few more if I'm permitted to just speak.
You are, but let's stop the yelling.
And if we'd like, we can take a minute here. What didn't you understand in layman's terms
No,
that you'd like me to
just
repeat?
keep going, I'll let you, let's continue, and give us an itemized concern so we can look at it. We were gonna vote on this tonight anyway, because because this is always a workshop where we discuss things, and if there's concerns, we hold them over till Tuesday, where we potentially would vote. So if we have the concerns, then we can figure it out. If we wanna vote Tuesday, we do. If we don't, we don't. But if you can get us the itemized stuff and highlight which ones you didn't like and why. So if we've been finished, and if you can get us that information, that's not a problem.
Thank you. The most concerning thing about the way the resolution is drafted is that if anybody violates the provisions as they're drafted, they can be subject to removal from the meeting, right? So what you have here is a member of the board who's operating in a private capacity to record, and if any of these arbitrary provisions are violated, he's going to be asked to be removed from the meeting. A representative elected by the people, and I find that absolutely absurd, okay? I also think that even if you're just a lay person who is not in an official capacity, that you shouldn't have to fear being removed from a meeting for not turning off your cell phone when we're more than a minute before or after the meeting starts. The other thing is the resolution as it's drafted doesn't talk about protecting the right of the people that's provided in the Sunshine Act, provided in the Pennsylvania Constitution, provided in the American Constitution, to record these meetings and to engage in free speech conduct. It doesn't talk about not having a member of the public who may not be recording from interfering with the operation of or the exercise of that right by a member of the public, right? It would be like unplugging someone's camera or unnecessarily blocking a camera. There's no protection for that in this ordinance, which I think if the government is doing its job of protecting the rights of the people, that should certainly be something that's in there, right? And I think this entire document is drafted not to protect the rights of the people, but to simply regulate some type of inconvenience that is someone trying to record and disseminate this information. So for those reasons, I'd ask the board to not put this on the agenda for next week in terms of voting on its passage and revise it with those concerns. Thank you.
so if you can just give us that information, give it to Rich, and Rich can email us
Okay.
those items. And then, like I said, it's probably gonna be on the Tuesday agenda, just so we can discuss it, but it doesn't mean we're gonna vote on it. So just,
But
it
if it is on the agenda, it could be voted on.
could be a vote on
Right.
it, but it's still, it's, we'll discuss whatever, and this stuff should be there, but any other citizens' concerns? If not, in our packet, there's correspondence from Township. You wanna review that? And then there's correspondence from the Board of Elections. Now, Rich, did you sign something already?
I have not, so with that, there's actually, they do indicate a question whether or not we'd like, reimbursement, if you will, for the use of our facility. It's not substantial, I think it's $75. Didn't know what we'd done in the past, Ms. McCune had not seen the document previously, so we don't know if that had gone to previous managers or if it's an every other year, or third year documentation. So we're trying to do some additional research if they had a previous one for this,
No, it said they wanted it returned and signed by tomorrow.
which we can take care of. We haven't signed it yet, though.
Okay.
Mr. Howard, that was marked stamped received like 3 weeks after the date of it. Are we up to date with our stamping? Is that a problem? I intend to call the elections about
So
that
we
issue.
received it. We received it March 8th.
The problem I have is there's been times where documents are not stamped received. You know, most recent memory as it relates to the vacancy board was Miss, am I saying right, Miss Katarakis, hers was never stamped received. What's the office procedure for making sure we know what we're getting and when we're getting it? What's our office procedure?
This was through the mail, and the stamp was received that day.
Who opens the mail?
That's Gail,
And she does the stamping as well?
in most cases, yes.
Do you know if she opened Miss Katarakis's?
Hers was via email, so it was already time to be stamped.
No, the part that was circulated to the board, the actual letter was not time stamped at all. Is there some
I
notation?
think it was sent via email, sir. Correct.
Okay, that's one of the correspondence. You got Chief.
Good evening, Board. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First item I have under my agenda is the removal of Officer Philip Dents off of probation. I'm asking for a motion to remove him from probation effective immediately with the pay increase to conform with the collective bargaining agreement. His anniversary date is 4/10/2024, so that's when his pay increase, the anniversary date would go. However, this is the last set of meetings before his anniversary date, so in order to remove him from probation. Evaluation has been done and was a positive evaluation.
That's located where in the budget, Chief, do you know?
Yeah, that's under the officer salaries. And bear with me, I can give you a number.
So number 410-106, Chief.
Yeah, 410, no, that's not it. 410-102. 106 is part of
As
it.
he's considered a patrolman then.
That is correct.
Do we want to do that this evening, or like till Tuesday?
Well, since his dates are being passed, wouldn't it be responsible of us to do what we're supposed to do?
It's April 10th. April
I
10th.
thought he said March, sorry. My apologies.
Just get it out of the way.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to remove Officer Benz from probation effective April 10th, which is his anniversary.
I second that.
Roll call, Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Gallo.
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Bitler.
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you, Board. Next item is, I'm gonna have a discussion relative to promoting a corporal. The purpose of that position is to have a supervisor on a platoon that currently doesn't have a supervisor. So the sergeant is assigned to one platoon, the other platoon doesn't have a supervisor that's out with them. How we use our supervisors is we put them on what we call a split shift. So they're on part with day shift, part with evening shift. This would, help us cut down liability, but also have system checks and balances out there. When I'm not out there or the sergeant's not out there. This was budgeted for and is under 410-103, which is corporal salary. And that budgeted amount was $96,925.92. It actually will not be that much because of the time it took for the collective bargaining agreement to be settled. We're actually obviously into the new year, into the new budget. Therefore, we have that time difference. That salary was computed on if you've been promoted at the beginning of the year, just so you're aware of that. What my process is for the corporal, they would submit a letter of intent to me, which also includes a bio, basically telling me why they think they're the best candidate. I'm requiring them to take online courses that I have had reviewed, sergeants reviewed. It's on police supervision. Those courses would have to be completed prior to the oral interview. As in the sergeant process, the oral interview would be conducted by command level officers from outside of Robeson Township, obviously. I like to bring an independent board in to do that interview. As before with the sergeant, I invite the board of supervisors if they like to sit in on it. There's a set of questions and they are scored by the board. I sit on these boards for other agencies throughout the county, and it's kind of them returning the favor to me for me sitting on their boards for promotion process. And then after that, the sergeant and I, in this case, will sit down and do pretty much a performance review and evaluation of the officers, how they work here, you know, things that they have maybe displayed of leadership already, and do an overall evaluation. So I just wanted to explain the process to you. So that being the process, I would ask the board to make a motion to allow me to begin that process with hopes of promoting one of the existing officers to the position of corporal. We would not be adding to our force.
And your guys are very interested?
I have yet to put it out, obviously, because I wanted the board approval first, but I'm sure I'll have several officers interested.
Figured that. Would you, I was gonna say, would you like us to vote on that so that you can start your proceedings?
That's fine. Sooner it's voted on, sooner I'll start.
I make a motion that we accept Chief Castle to promote an existing officer to the rank of corporal. He's gonna begin the promotion process.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Mr. Rose,
Yes.
Mr. Bitler,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Okay, thank you, board. And just to clarify, I will, the officer that we decide to move forward to that will come before the board for board approval. He just will not be promoted without the board's authorization. Okay, next item, review costs for mobile shredding services, destruction of records. I don't have this on listed for an approval this evening because it's something I just wanted to review. The end of last year, we passed a resolution, or you did, you passed a resolution for me to destroy some documents. It's permitted by law. Great resolution, but it doesn't look good unless I get it done. So I reached out and received prices from 3 different vendors that would come to our facility with a truck to shred. These trucks would have cameras because we must obviously witness the shredding, document it, and take care of it that way. What I quoted for the vendors, I quoted 100 banker boxes. I had 80. Okay, so I'm giving an extra 20 in case the township has anything. Okay, so there is a little bit of play in there. The quotes that I received are, one was from Shred It. That quote was for $1,250. The second quote was from a company called Wiggins. That was $1,400. And the last quote was from Iron Mountain, and that was $1,299. And this is for mobile shredding. Obviously, I believe it'd be cost effective to have them come here rather than us trying to end up having to tie up public works and worry about documents escaping on the travels and what have you. So, the board would like, I can email you those numbers, and then I'll put this back on the agenda for the meeting. And then, you know, and when I email the numbers, I'll include the companies and also where they're from. They're all fairly local. And that's how I did it on the search. Shred It is already used by Exeter Township. So I did have a reference on that. Okay. And the last item that I have on here for this evening is wanted the board to consider advancing the salary of one of our officers, okay? And this would be more for purposes of retention. Obviously, in this hiring environment, there's a lot of recruiting going on, as you're well aware, because we recruited a few officers ourselves. In fact, we recruited 3 officers. So the recruiting is hot and heavy. So one of the things the board had done was the prior board had come up with a MOU This MOU was drafted and attached to the contract, and it did benefit officers in the department, as well as us able to recruit. And I'm very appreciative of the board, because that was the big reason we were able to recruit guys with experience. That MOU did not affect Officer Ketterer, so he did not advance by that MOU. Okay, so
That was inadvertent, I think, in the prior board's position, would you not agree?
I'd agree, it's something that just wasn't considered there. Under the new collective bargaining agreement, okay, this is something that I can ask the board to do. I couldn't do that under the old collective bargaining agreement. So based on that, and what I'm looking at in addition to the retention is Officer Ketterer conduct both on and off duty has been great, no issues. He handles his calls proficiently, he handles them efficiently. When we review body cam footage, especially when he's on assistance at other agencies, he's taken almost a leadership role himself. And he's, as you're probably aware, he received a life-saving award already. That's actually out of the current officers in the department, myself included, he's the only officer that has a life-saving award at this point. On his evaluations, he's had several evaluations from us. He either meets or exceeds all standards. And there's been no abuse or excessive time leave, so he's very respectful for that. He fills shifts when we need, even if it's opposite rotation, maybe a day shift. And the board might find it interesting, but I think the officers would rather fill night shifts than day shifts at times, just by the calls that we receive. But, and I can tell you this too, in all honesty, Officer Ketterer has been recruited. You know, the department reached out, and he was offered the position, and we were able to keep him still. So it is a concern of mine. So it's something that, you know, through the new CBA, I can ask the board to do that. And that's why I'm making the request, but I felt you deserved me to explain why I think he's worth that. And what my recommendation was not to bump him up to the top rate, but bump him up to the 4-year rate of $36.80 an hour.
When would he normally hit his 4-year? How long's he been here?
Right now, he's at the 2-year, so he'd have another 2 years to go, obviously. Well, probably with his, where he's at, a year and a half, so to speak, or year and change, but yeah, and this just bumps him up, and you know, like I said, the main purpose for it, obviously, is rewarding him for a job well done, but he's doing the work of the other officers that are getting paid more money, and some of them have been here less than he has. You know, Officer Ketterer is technically, as under the rank of chief, he is number 2 in seniority in this department. It's Officer Zever's first, and it's Officer Ketterer. So even those other officers that we were able to recruit, thankfully, have more time doing the job, they have less time in Robeson Township. And you know, that tenure, there's a value in that as far as I'm concerned, because when I leave, okay, you know, you're losing, with me, about 30 years of tenure here. So Officer Ketterer grew up here, so, you know, in addition to his work experience here, he has all the time of life in Robeson Township. And that's one thing that I think we've done a good job working together, you know, the board and myself, is hiring officers that know this community, that mirror this community. Because I think sometimes, even on a national level, that's where sometimes the police administrators kind of miss the target. You know, I think it's important to hire people that mirror your community. You know, you see a better service when that occurs.
We also need to keep what we've hired, if they're good.
Yeah,
We don't wanna lose them because you spend a lot of time retraining somebody down.
everything's expensive.
Chief, did, obviously you said he was recruited by others, did he give a reason why he stayed here?
He did, and all due respect,
No.
I'd be more comfortable to answer that in
No
private.
problem.
What was the question again?
Why he stayed.
Why he stayed.
He said he was recruited by other departments and has chosen to stay at Robeson. I was curious if there was a reason that was given.
The reason is what a wonderful community we have, what a wonderful township, that's the reason.
Very well could be.
Anyone would like to make a motion for this, for Officer Ketterer?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, Mr. Floyd,
Yes.
Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Mr. Rose,
Yes.
Mr. Bitler,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
Thank you, board. I'll let Officer Ketterer know, and I appreciate it. Because at the end of it, it makes my job a lot easier too, to have officers that stay with us. So thank you. And that's all I have for this evening, unless the board has any questions. This time. Thank you.
Rich?
All right, in your package, you'll find our monthly expenses, a review for those, treasury report, and the store agent report.
The expenses, the actual bills, do we bring those, in the past, we brought those at workshop meetings so that I can take a look at those.
We did not have them completed, no, actually, I have the checks ready for tonight. They will be brought to the regular meeting.
It doesn't really give us a chance to take a look at them. There's a couple of things jumping out at me, particularly a Hermine bill, $7,400 per month, and I understand that's a part-time position. I'm just not clear what they're doing for that.
A lot of our payroll in ADP.
From going forward, can we have a copy? Bring all the bills that you want us to approve here, bring it in one folder like we've done in the past?
Again, this was just a very short time frame week for us, unfortunately, I was out today, so we did not have enough to get everything done for it.
Okay, that's your manager comments.
Okay, just a reminder for this first one, Ethics Commission filings due the 31st of March to me. If you can please get that to me. Yes, the official date is the 1st of May. However, we do have our audit prior to the end of April, and that is something that we get those in to us.
The audit period covers what?
It's 1 April.
What period does that cover? I don't think it covers what you're asking us to do.
Not sure I follow this.
I don't think that, there's a reason why that the ethics statement isn't due till after that. There's two different competing interests there. I don't know that we've never been forced into, if you will, doing them in advance.
I asked for them for 31st of March, if 1 May is last.
Did you put in my box last year's, copy of last year's audit? Did you do that?
I could.
Thank
Sure,
you.
but all right, this next one here is a request for a motion for a solicitor land to develop a release and hold harmless for a septic system at 1232 Buck Hollow Road. They've done everything they can. They cannot find a way to keep that outside of the 100-foot range of the wellhead, and so we'll need him to work that for us if we can get that done so we can get it back to the homeowner. So if I get a motion with that, much appreciated.
I'll make a motion, if you don't have the room, you don't have the room. You can only do so much, so I'll make a motion that we give solicitor Orlando to develop a release and hold harmless for the septic system at 1232 Buck Hollow Road, since it's within 100 feet of recommended distance of the well.
I'll second, roll call, Mrs. Joy, Mr. Gallo,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Bitler,
Yes.
another yes.
Next one's just on your notes here. This is just the office copier is facing its end of life. We are gathering information right now. I'll have more information for you at the regular meeting, and if we can, we'll take a look at that in the April meeting for a replacement. Next one is just a reminder as well, public hearing will occur prior to our regular meeting on the 19th, and that is an ordinance amending the drop age, just again for your information. And finally, in your packets, there's a bit of information on a residence at 2860 Plow Road. It is an issue with bamboo. It butts the roadway. I think the concern is in the past, based on the location of that bamboo, that it can impact roadways, particularly during snowstorms or heavy rain as it falls across the roadway. So we'd like the board's guidance on that. If you please take a look at that and have comments ready for us. The information's there in the packet for your review, and we can discuss further at the regular meeting. Any questions? That's all I have. First time.
All right, and this one, our packages from fire company, so we get on Tuesday. And then in our packet is the minutes and reports for us to review for Tuesday. We have any comments, if we need to correct anything.
We're talking about the the minutes we're gonna approve on Tuesday.
Yeah, if there's
With
anything,
respect to the January 2nd meeting, first there was no minutes, then I had asked for a copy of, when Mr. Steve sends an email in of those minutes, he seemed to still struggle with that concept of forwarding emails promptly. So Mr. Steve forwards an email at the time he was the treasurer or secretary, if you will. And now there are 3 or 4 different versions, none of which contain the comments I made at last month's meeting. One of those comments was it took 3 more versions to simply change the starting time. The second comment I had was the noting of your leaving the meeting, going into the parking lot and contacting our solicitor via telephone, which I objected to. It won't appear in the minutes. It's just unacceptable, gentlemen, not to document our meetings properly. That's another example of why I think you two, I think contemporaneous recordings of these meetings are so important. If you go back, it's all available to the public. You can check out if what I'm saying is not true. You can rely on them as we've done, some people have done in the past, including my colleague sitting to my left, Mr. Rhodes.
so for the January 2nd one, you just wanted to say where it says Manager Howitt contacted the Township Solicitor for guidance, you can say Manager Howitt left the public meeting to contact the Township Solicitor for
Went to the
guidance.
parking lot and contacted, out of the board's hearing, our solicitor. It's not a matter of, we couldn't determine whether we advertised it, we didn't.
But it's still, he's still calling for guidance, which is correct, you just wanted to have it mentioned that he left the room and left the building. And that would be fine.
That would be a good start.
Did you state that the manager did not send Harold's minutes to you?
That's exactly what I'm
Is your
saying.
name Timothy Butler?
Yes, sir, that's my name.
February 21st, you were sent that email.
Sir, what we wanna do is, that email was sent, why don't you keep looking at your computer, that email was sent in January, that was sent January 3rd. Was it not, Mr. Steve? When did you send that? January 3rd? So why wait till February 20th to send it?
Because
Why wait?
Because after the meeting, when you asked him to send it to you.
This
Therefore,
previous board had a motion on the floor.
this
and
is our board
approved-
now.
Okay, and that's still in effect.
Pick up your
When
computer.
you get an email, why can't this board simply forward it?
You have it, it's right
It
here.
was sent to
Sir,
you.
Sir, on January, then we have another month and a half. That's only one example. We can get into 100 other
I'm
examples.
sure you have two.
Why not send something?
Something
So-
related
We
to
know
the
you've got
so-
something to complain about
Richard, if you could
consistently.
just tweak that sentence and see if it's okay for Kim.
Thank you for sending that, Rich.
It's appreciated.
Harold, you had a question?
I do. Any reason, or what is the reason we're no longer getting any of the information posted on the website as being part of the packet?
Laws.
I don't know, Richard, I don't.
Listen, it's been on there for 30 years.
I don't, what doesn't mean
Hold
what
on,
you've done is right.
let Richard answer that question.
Okay, so at the current time, obviously, we have a challenge. We have not approved the minutes from reorganization. Gail did not want to have those out of order, so has not sent them for posting at this point in time. If you would like me to do so, I can, and we can post the ones as we get them approved. That's why they have not been uploaded. If you're talking about packets, my understanding from my training with PSATs and also with talking with our solicitor, in fact, the requirement is for us to post only the agenda to our website prior to the meeting.
They must be approved prior to us posting them.
That means we do not want to post draft minutes to,
Right.
Okay,
and everything that has not been discussed in front of the board.
what about the rest of
told.
Again, that has not been discussed in front of the board.
You know, I mean, we've always had that, and it's always been a good check and balance to see where the money is being spent, how, and sometimes reflect it.
There is no downside to giving the public more information. Putting things on there that you may not be required to do, but yet should do, could do.
How about if we ask Mr. Orlando?
Before we go there, I would point out there's a chance every time we do that for mistakes to occur. I would like to bring one to light. There was at one point some information sent to us that included a website address, and that could have been a backdoor into some sensitive information. It was done inadvertently. And I don't wanna go into any further details here, however, that's a concern, that those are the things that, when they get up there, can cause us problems.
Well, then,
We will always be able to print a packet and leave it on the front counter for anybody that would like to come in and review it. I think that's appropriate. Unless Solicitor Lana feels otherwise.
I'm not sure our solicitor should be setting the policy. You've said it's some kind of legal requirement, you're saying, I'm saying we need to err on the side of giving more public information, that's what I'm saying. And that when we get an email, we should send it out, we should copy all the supervisors, that's what I think, I've said it repeatedly.
So, review all these things for Tuesday, and we'll go to engineering, Ryan.
Good evening, board. I had circulated my report to you. On the agenda here, we have and two MPC time extensions. The first one is for Cedar Hill Estates. That's the residential subdivision off Cedar Hill Road. The second is for Rock Hollow Woods, and then to follow that is also an extension that they've requested of their construction agreement. With respect to that, they kind of go hand in hand with the fact that they're resolving some issues with their plan. They have a current plan in front of the board. They're working on some deed consolidation and some other items. And they're tied in with some Berks County conservation matters as well. So they're going to be requesting or have requested additional time to sort through those items.
We've already given them prior extensions, have we not?
Indeed, we have.
Okay, and I saw something in your report that says they've indicated a change to what they wanna do, is that true?
With respect to Rock Hollow Woods,
Yes.
so the issue at this point, or the issues that the request was for a change, Supervisor Biller, as you recall, they decided not to construct their building on their property. So they prepared an as-built plan, an amended plan of record, submitted that to the planning commission. There were comments generated from that. The guidance from the planning commission to the applicant as part of that was to request that they investigate a deed consolidation to get rid of this 2 acre and change lot that's kind of hanging out there on Cedar Hill Road. They've done that. The issue is the property that they were going to consolidate it with is in conservation, varying levels of conservation through the county, and they are working through that process with Berks County as we speak.
Thanks, Ryan.
So we can have those on the agenda for Tuesday night. I also have, bids were open for the oil and chip work, the maintenance contract, which we were previously authorized to bid. There were 2 bids received, one from Asphalt Maintenance Solutions, and the low bid was prepared and submitted by Martin's Paving. We have reviewed those bids with both the manager and Public Works. The bids came in under our estimate. Our estimate is the final page in my report. And you can see that the full scope of work was the complete oil and chip of Golf Course Road in its entirety. Came in at $243,913.65. Our construction estimate for that was $267,157.35, and the second bid was $264,886.95. So at this time, that maintenance bid is complete and accurate, and if the board would be willing, we could authorize awarding that bid to Martin's Paving. And in discussions, I do believe that our budget will permit us to award the full amount of the $243,913.65.
Those prices came down, did they not?
They certainly did.
It's a reflection of the fuel.
It's a reflection of fuel, oil prices, and likely, as we talked last year, the time that we bid it, so we were out early.
No, we're ahead of schedule.
We want to do that tonight, with Marcus Paving for $243,913.
Does that include, because it was like a plan A and a plan B,
Correct.
does it include both plan A and plan B?
That's the full
Okay, so
load.
that's full load.
That's from Gibraltar to Route 10.
Yes, I make that motion that we award the maintenance oil and chip contract to the Martin's paving for the full $243,916.45.
900 what? 15.
Sorry, I wrote 16. Hey, I was off $3, come on,
$913.65.
there you go.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Mrs. Joy,
Yes,
Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
no, yes.
Thank you, we'll proceed with doing so. The final item that I have is discussion regarding our construction contract paving for this year. After opening bids on the 7th, we did discuss scope of work and budget with both the Public Works Department and manager. The board will recall that we had previously been investigating paving Proudfoot Drive as well as Mounts Road. After looking at the budget, combined with how our oil and chip pricing has been received, we are also proposing to place Hopewell Road on the bid as an alternate. So right now, the way that that project would look is we would essentially have a base bid of Proudfoot Drive and Mounts Road, at least the portions within Robeson Township. The base bid would not include Mounts Road through New Morgan Borough. I have discussed the section through New Morgan Borough with Municipal Services, PennDOT, and we have obtained guidance as to how to bid that as an alternate. So the first alternate would include Mounts Road through the borough, and I believe Rich is going to be talking to the borough about that. The way that would work essentially is the contractor would provide a performance bond to both municipalities and invoice both municipalities separately. The borough does not receive liquid fuels money. Okay? The second alternate would then include the paving of Hopewell Road. So the board would be at liberty, once these prices were received, to award any combination of those that would be both budget friendly and depending on how the borough comes back with their wish. So at this point, I would be requesting authorization to move forward with that along with Rich and discussing that with the borough. If the board would like to table that until the regular meeting or beyond, let me know and that's fine too.
Yeah, I'll make a motion for you to authorize you to bid 2024 construction paving contract.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, Mrs. Joy,
Yes,
Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
no, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all I have for this evening, unless you have questions of me or in my report.
All right, Solicitor Orlando.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's nothing on the written agenda. Rich already mentioned, just a notation that on Tuesday, we'll have a public hearing on the drop ordinance. And just an FYI, the board authorized us to move ahead with the explosive magazine ordinance, which of course that's not ready for advertising, but we did need to get it to the Berks County Planning Commission, which we did. They've had it, we haven't received anything back yet. Excuse me. That's just an FYI. I don't wanna rehash what was said, but just so that, to be clear on the discussion about minutes, during a telephone conversation the day after Rich attended class with, I don't know whether the class was, but I called him to ask him how his class was, and he was very happy about it. And he asked me about minutes, because what he was told at minutes, he asked me what I knew about it, and all I said, I believe, was that draft minutes are not public records until they're approved by the supervisors. Or there's a period of time that passes, but by the next meeting, then they're no longer protected. I think that was the sole extent of my conversation about minutes.
Correct.
That's all. So, just as a heads up. And, I don't have anything else unless the board has any questions.
Al, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Sullivan. The advertisement for the drop ordinance, I believe it is quoted as the wrong ordinance. The drop ordinance is 2102. And the ordinance is quoted in the paper is a different, totally different ordinance. It has to do with pension, but drop is never mentioned in that ordinance at all.
Right, and
And the other thing as I see, changing the drop ordinance will not change the requirement of the retirement age in the ordinance to 52 and a half. So even if you get entered the drop at 52 and a half, you still can't retire until you're 55.
I'm not sure what you're referring to. The advertisement that I have says that to correct the eligibility age of officers hired prior to April 28th. And the summary of the ordinance says, sole purpose of this ordinance is to amend section 439 to change the age from 55 to 52 and a half. So I have no idea what you're talking about, Harold, but the advertisement is the correct
What
one.
was printed in the newspaper,
I'm reading from the newspaper.
it says chapter 1, Administrative Government Part 4, entitled Police Pension Plan.
That's right.
And that is correct. Letter I entitled Deferred Retirement Program is not in there. Letter I appears in the drop ordinance. Letter I has nothing to do with the drop.
I believe that's a correct position as my review of the drop ordinance.
I have to look at it. The section and the reference that you're looking at is what was provided to me by the manager, but what we changed it to specifically refer to the age.
Essentially, every documentation I have on it.
But if you quote the drop program, not the pension plan program.
They're two different distinct items.
Right. And the 439 is correct in ordinance 2102, but not in chapter 1.
I'll have to review it. I mean, I took from what was given to me, we changed it to refer to the age, not, because I think what Rich originally sent me was the ordinance that was adopted by prior council. I'm not sure where that came from. That's what you said.
I think we reviewed that for Tuesday.
What's that?
Just look that over for Tuesday, see if you
Yeah,
can clarify that.
I'll gladly do that.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nothing.
All right, Public Works, Barry.
Yes, as everybody's seen circulation of the 2018 Mac that we are looking to purchase. We had contacted Trucksmart, they offered us, which everybody got the, two different quotes for the different warranties. One was a 3 year, one was a 4 year. Obviously, price reflects within the two. It's kind of up to the board that they would like to do as far as the 3 or 4 year. There is a $3,000 difference between the 3 and 4 year. We're looking at $6,000 and $6,000 and some change to $9,000 and some change.
You want item A?
I'm sorry?
Are you on item
No,
A?
he's actually on.
He actually moved ahead a little bit. So to set this up for the board and for those present, as many of you know, we've had a number of challenges with our 1999 GMC. It's a 25-year-old vehicle. As I mentioned previously, one of the challenges is a life cycle management program. We do not have that here in the township. Most life cycle management programs recommend between 6 and 8 years for the replacement of vehicles. Obviously, a 25-year-old vehicle is outside that range pretty substantially. And again, we've had some issues and concern with that 1999 GMC during the last couple of snowstorms. Police broke it down twice. And one of those times we had to have that towed in, the other time we were able to get it restarted and bring it in itself. So that set us up to take a look at what options we had available to us. What we looked at was the market around us to see if there's something available. We looked at a couple different options. We put out a bid, request for bid, and that was advertised. And we received one bid back from Truck Smart regards a 44,000 pounds gross vehicle weight dump truck. And that is what he's referring to when he speaks about the extended warranty. So there's two options on the extended warranty. What I'm asking for this evening in that process is a motion purchase. Again, we received that bid. It was actually opened with Ryan there last week when we opened the other bids for our road work. And that was a bid that came in. I actually have the exact numbers here. Take a look. The exact numbers, let's see, was purchase price was $124,980. DMV registration was $1,270. Document fees were $464. We actually recommend the gold warranty, which is the 48-month, 300,000 mile warranty on that vehicle for $9,017. And then we had the reserve paid credit, which is a subtraction of $1,000. So that's what we did last month, was reserve that so that we had the opportunity to discuss it this evening. And that's where we stand. So that comes out to a total price of $134,731. The reason there's a request in there for the $140,000, $140,000 is number one, incidental costs, and then if you'll note down, the second line is a motion to create a line code, which would be for maintenance for that vehicle. So any remainder would be placed in that, would be left in that line. There is a misquote on D, the motion. Should be 140 from general fund savings to line code, but we could still do the 130 as well. And I would request that actually go to 437,748 rather than to the capital fund. Or again, we could purchase it out of either. So it's neither here nor there.
These motions can be addressed Tuesday, can they not? I mean, this is the.
My concern is we've already approached, we're at the edge of the 30-day reserve, and remember, they have already extended that well beyond their initial reserve is 14 days.
So Tuesday is going to blow the deal?
Very potentially could. I'd like to request a motion tonight to.
I think we should wait till Tuesday on all this so we have a chance to take a look at it.
We did have Yes, I make that motion that are we doing this all in one?
No.
To purchase the 2018 Mack Granite from Truck Smart in the amount of, which we determined 140 because we're gonna put the rest into 437.748. No, 750, my apologies.
We're doing one motion. So we're doing the motion to purchase it. You made the motion.
Yes.
We have a second.
I'll second the motion.
Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Dahl,
Yes.
Mr. Rose,
Yes.
Mr. Diller.
I'll vote no.
No. We have motion to create line code, so it is 437.748, Rich.
Correct, that would be the maintenance line.
And we would like to make a motion to create line code 437.748 with the appropriate resolution number. You know that, Nat? You know that?
Will, I do not have that with me, but I'll make sure that's put out. I believe it's going to be 01 for us this year.
I think it should be 01.
I believe so. I'll double check that.
Okay. Yes, Christopher, we already did that, so we might as well create the motion like you said separately to create line code 437.748 for resolution, at this point what we know is 2401, so that we can turn around and take what's left over from 140,000 and put it into that fund to maintenance the truck.
All right, so the motion to create that line code, that's second.
I'll second.
Roll call, Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Diller,
Yes.
Mr. Rose,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler.
I'll vote no.
I vote yes. Now, Rich, do you want the next one, a motion to transfer 130 from the general savings fund, or do you want the 140?
I'd like to make that the 140. That was not caught prior to being set out. And again, I would also like that to go right to the 437.748 rather than the capital. These are capital funds alone. Current stands, which I believe is at 75,000 for that line.
I'll make a motion, to transfer $140,000 from general fund savings to line code 437.748.
Seven four eight.
748.
748, yes, sir.
Alright, so we have a motion, second,
I'll second it.
roll call, Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Gallow, Mr. Rhodes, Mr. Bittler.
Vote no.
Okay, Barry, anything more?
Yeah, thank you, Board, for the approval.
Now, what about A, or the bid for the $42,000?
That was the,
That was-
discussion, yes,
That was
sir.
all.
This is the bid.
That being said, as Ryan had stated, with the asphalt maintenance that was awarded, there is a little bit of work to do on Golf Course Road, to get that ready for them to come and do the oil and chip. As well as, Mount Road's gonna have to get all the pipes replaced, which we're, in the midst of doing that, ordering pipes, so on and so forth. There's a pipe on Watercrest that needs to be replaced. The pipe is already out there, the PA1 call was already placed. However, I'm questioning the PA1 call because there is only one marking there for electric. There's no markings for cable. So I don't know why it's not marked for cable, but, there is cones around there, so if there's residents that call on this, I am questioning, Service Electric or the cable provider in that area, why they have not came out and responded. So we don't go in there digging and hit their line. Other than that, that's all I have.
Rich, do you want, these motions to bid, reconcile, I mean?
These will be the sale of the other vehicles, the 1999 GMC, 2004 John Deere backhoe, and the 2004 Freightliner. We can see if you'd like to get that process started.
You can also hold that till Tuesday, can you not?
You could, sir.
You-
Sale
My
list will be-
preference is to
there's-
hold
You
it.
have plenty of info.
So, you can wait till Tuesday, it doesn't matter.
No,
It's just-
no big deal. It's just one more job for you before Tuesday, so you can wait till Tuesday.
So that's the Alright, Rich, we got Park and Rec.
So, I met with the Park and Rec meeting, they're looking for some projects, to approve. First is playground mulch up to, they're asking for a motion to approve purchase playground mulch up to 3,000, that needs to be replaced. Another motion to approve purchase of Diamond Tex infield mix up to 1,000. We looked at some of the quotes that they had, that came in, they were pretty substantial, and we looked at the last one, it was for $734, but looking at the increase in cost, we feel 1,000 would be appropriate. If it's gonna go back, it's gonna go higher than that, and we get more official bids in, our recommendation would be, that we come back to the board for it, so, at that one time. Motion to approve backstop repair replacement, at 9,000, and then there's also a motion to approve power washing painting of all park buildings up to 9,000. And then a motion to approve seal coating, line painting. I'd like to up that to 2,500. We did get a bid in yesterday for 2,500, and that, so it's just slightly above what we originally had thought.
You wanna wait for Tuesday, cause
We can.
now is it, I'm assuming Parks and Rec has enough budget for this.
We do. This would come out of the green spaces. I believe that's the title of the account. We have 61,000 there. This came out to just around 2,100 or $21,000. We have the funds to do so.
Did they repair the, light down there for the water system?
They have not yet. Actually, that's something we've asked Cole Brothers to look into. So there's a couple of issues. Matter of fact, there was one you actually brought to my attention earlier today. There was a bill for water testing that actually had to do with this facility.
Oh, it was work for Park and Rec.
It is, and it's actually for the field next door. The reason it's placed there, it's under MJ Ryder. So that was actually to clear this through the DEP here in the state because of the water issue we had.
Hence the check and balance.
Yeah, yes, that's the check and balance. Very good. That building down there, we need to have them look at the system that was put in. Cole Brothers, when they replaced some of the things here, thought that it may have been a matter of paperwork being completed rather than having to actually go out and replace it. I think they had quoted, when Freddie looked at it, getting a $4,000 system or something like that. So Cole Brothers is looking into it for us. They feel it might just be a paperwork issue, which would be much easier and much less expensive to resolve, so we're gonna allow them to do that.
And then the other question is, they're gonna seal coat, are they gonna, and paint lines, are they gonna make them back to basketball courts, or because there was talk about making them a pickleball?
I believe one of the ones we were looking at was basketball and not volleyball. So the volleyball court, I think are looking to turn it into a pickleball court rather than remaining as a volleyball court, because it's hard surface.
Are they gonna do that part of this project?
Yes, that was one of the things that they had discussed, was rather than making it a volleyball lines, it would be pickleball lines.
There's actually a pickleball television channel.
There is, yes. That's much more popular than volleyball, and very frankly, volleyball probably shouldn't be done, played on asphalt, although we know that as kids.
Sand.
Yeah. So with that, we can wait till Tuesday night,
Yeah.
because just wanna let you know that.
Okay, because Rich EAC.
Well, Joe, do you wanna speak to that one as our new liaison?
No.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna let you speak, I'm
All
still
right.
in a learning process of
All right, so,
what's
with
normal.
that, and I'm gonna have to pull it out here, there's a House Bill, 797. Basically, I'm gonna paraphrase, we're looking for support of House Bill 797 as Board of Supervisors. It just talks about planting native, plants and grasses along vegetation along the highways. And
No, it's a PennDOT.
It's a PennDOT,
It's just
but
more or less, it's a state bill.
we're supporting it, correct?
Actually,
That's-
dumped it right
yeah,
in
It's a state bill that's gonna have PennDOT along their highways too. It's not forcing us to do it. It's forced PennDOT in all their open areas to do native plants, trees, shrubs, instead of the grass that they have everywhere. And
And
it's-
then less mowing and.
I know we talked about that before, remember we talked about that when we talked about Boomtown Road and the cost, like
Yeah.
Ohio saves millions of dollars a year by doing that or something. But anyway, that was what they discussed, and they just were asking for the supervisor support for the House Bill 797. Harold?
Since you're talking about the EAC, I saw that we're doing a joint project with Union Township. It would be nice if the residents.
I'm talking about they have an event, I believe,
They
they're
have an
working
event.
on.
Yeah.
But they haven't published it, they're still working out the
Oh, no,
details with Union.
the union published it.
Well,
They didn't give the Robinson anything yet.
they didn't give Robinson
Okay.
it, they were in charge of making it up.
I just read it and I
Yes, they
tried to
were-
pass information on it.
it's their project that they asked if we would co-promote it, but we haven't gotten all the information and the flyer that apparently the township did not get to help promote it.
Yeah, so that, they took charge of
Okay.
it, we'll do it, and
So-
we'll give you
So
it.
where'd you see this flyer, or where you saw it?
It's their Union Township bulletin,
Oh, all right, well, yeah.
their newsletter.
Well, see,
Alright, well then, they said at the meeting that they're gonna give us information soon, so we can advertise.
Okay, I'm just like, trying to get information out there.
Can't give what we don't have.
yeah, exactly. Is it on their website or actually a newsletter?
No, it's a newsletter, but if you want, I'll bring it on.
Yeah, that would help, thank you.
Alright, and then we have any new business, Rich? Old business, I see resolution, which we will, if anyone wants to make any comments now, wait till Tuesday, I guess. Rich, I guess you got the Gaja liaison, if you wanna talk about that.
Yes, sir. So just briefly, right now we need to replace, as many of you may know, Harold, our previous member of liaison to the Gaja board, has resigned effective yesterday. And so we're gonna need to have somebody else there. Now, my review of the bylaws and my review of the articles of incorporation does not indicate that it has to be a supervisor. I did call Mike Dunbar. Mike Dunbar told me that in fact it does not. So if there is documentation to the
You'll have to
contrary.
find it, but there's a letter of agreement between the two townships when they signed the loan papers.
Okay.
That each has to have a representative on that board.
Okay. A
A supervisor
a
representative.
supervisor representative,
And
okay?
then even is in the details, the other members
So-
are one from Union, one from Robeson, and one mutually agreed to by both municipalities.
Correct, that's Peg McLean.
Who's the mutual Peg McLean now? She's
Peg
a
McLean
Robinson
is the-
resident?
She's the
Yes,
both.
she's a Robinson resident.
No, she's the both.
So with that board, there's 2 representatives from Union Township, 2 representatives from Robinson Township, and there is one mutually agreed upon by both boards that must live within the Gaja service area, and that is Peg McLean.
That's where she lived 50 years ago.
So
She's,
anyone?
and actually, Nancy Beaton also lives within the area.
She's a Robinson Township.
So we'll have to, if you happen to find that, again, my conversation with Mike, there was no indication thereof. I'm not saying anything, so.
She just said she wanted to do it. You guys are liaison.
Can you go back to your EAC? No, that's the deal. Flat out up front,
there's no reason you can't be on the EAC, that's your baby. If I have to put up with Gaja, you can have your EAC back with no whining from anybody.
That's up to make my.
We have some time, it's once quarterly, so the next meeting is not until June. We do have some time to resolve this.
You have advertisement of open positions?
I just want to let you know, we've advertised 2 open positions, currently 2 of them are action, one is the public works crew member, and then the administrative assistant. We've received applications. I know I was just placed on my desk today, the ones for the administrative assistant. I believe that you are working through your packets right now. I will review those, and then we will take our next steps. Of course, we have pending, which is the additional public works crew member and assistant manager. Again, they'll remain pending until sometime down the line. And then the last 2 items on there, just I'm just leaving them on there so that they don't fall off our radars with hometown press, and also the general code, which I apologize, I meant to get some information out. I have been doing some research with local townships, however, and I have not had a chance to wrap it up into an email for you, the board, to share their thoughts on their pleasure or displeasure, whatever it may be with general code.
Before we move on, did the signs that I talked about last month, you were gonna bring some quotes with, did they fall off our radar?
They did not. I reached out to the same people that placed a sign for Robeson Elementary, and they are going to get back to me. I gave them the address of both here and also the Jipper Park. They are going to call and let me know when they can meet up with us. The one that they said might be a little bit of an issue, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Jipper Park does not have electric, where this one here in front of this building does have electric. Obviously, being an LED sign, they need electric. So.
I think there's electric proximity to there.
Is there?
Yeah. Yeah, there may be some, because you have lights on, aren't there lights on the
There's
memorial?
lights that sign on the memorial.
Yeah, so we might be able to.
I'm just saying, there's no, like, with this here, at that exact location, if they were to remove that sign, there's electric there. That's the only thing that they were asking, prior to coming out, so, as soon as they come out.
But maybe we could steal some of their thing here, you know?
We'll make sure that gets that back on there, but just to keep it on the radar as well.
Well, let's not put up a digital sign like Twin Valley that nobody can read.
Oh, it's too fast.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when it scrolls through, it's like.
Yeah, but they can also control the speed of that, so whatever, not our problem, not our monkey, not our circus. Got a mouth. Yes, we kinda need to.
Yeah, so we'll go on executive at 8:07, 8:07, legal and personnel.
Oh, I'm not going to hear it.
Supervisor Robeson, manager, no manager?
That's so you can take it, when it rains, just.
Rich,
Do you want to go? Go ahead.
I don't know, you're gonna come breathe on us and make us sick?
No, I'll just hang here, that's
I think
okay.
everybody else is.
Trying to bring the chief's correct. I'll go to his office. I think it's cold.
Yes.
Well, so here's the problem.
I thought about that.
Okay.
I mean, we can.
Well, we can guys are on the wide back there.
Or water.
That's, I mean, it does, but not all the time.
Yeah,
How's Linda doing?
Ornery as ever.
yeah,
Is she
so,
fit woman?
the 16-inch one I'm not worried about. That,
Keeps you on your toes.
you know,
Oh,
it's just.
Trying to breathe.
It's unbelievable.
Are you doing these this year?
Yeah, I got,
Yeah, we all had something.
picking up 4 packages on the.
Probably.
We've been hugging
Probably
too-
right.
we've been hugging too much.
Yeah, this is.
So I think I have 4 hives. I'll start splitting. Pretty
I wanna
soon.
let you know, and this is
You take a hive and turn it into two hives.
He's pretty good friends with the family down there at the corner.
Okay,
Guy.
yeah.
So he said he's gonna make an introduction he's gonna see what kind of Jen can eat this weekend.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna get an idea during the
I
week when
wasn't
she
so
can meet
scared.
all of us.
Yeah.
And come up with maybe
Do
some
you ever get stuck?
solutions for the big one.
Only every day.
I think she doesn't know what to do with the
The
situation.
worst I got, one time,
I think she's a little out
about 20 of them got in my mask.
Her husband passed away.
After you said that,
Stuck my fist about
And I think
20
she's
times.
struggling sometimes trying to figure out what to do.
I had bulges on
So
both
I saw
eyes,
Fred, he's like, oh my God,
cheeks
I'm sure
were
she'd love to work with these guys.
swollen.
I told him, I said, here's what I observed.
I couldn't get the hood off her fast enough.
I'm looking at her pond, and it's
I
over,
had a
because I looked down first, and I saw water in
Oh, you,
that swale.
no, they're bad, see, they can keep
And then I looked
swimming.
at it and I went, oh.
A honeybee can only swim once and it dies.
She goes, yeah, that thing's overflowing, it's bad. And I said, okay, so, and it just so happens, like I said, I have to look at the papers or else it's trouble, so I think what we're gonna need to, I'll see
We're
what.
gonna get rid of this.
I had a couple on my face, a couple on my hands.
I usually tell
So-
That's a
people,
large
first person that asks me if I get, if you
Well,
ever
yeah,
get
that's
stung,
what, so I think if we have her permission to go in and trap,
only
let's
every
go in and
day.
trap. I don't know what we do from there, I don't think she, maybe she, I
Honestly,
don't,
my kid is chomping at the bit.
okay. So we'll need her
What's
approval
funny
to
is
do
when you
that.
get a novice
Trap,
that's not used to
Take
it,
them out.
and they're going like this and they're
You get more than one at like your tail, I'll tell you why
and
later.
all that does is make them worse.
Do you use this?
You have to run, yeah.
We're
because
gonna
it's-
have to take a chain in there and do something.
Yes, you have a smoker, you just keep smoking them.
No.
It's too wet, but that damn.
And smoking disorients them from a standpoint of.
really-
it's spread out.
Well, I mean, we were looking the day you were out, if you look, you could actually look up the stream bed and see it. No, she does,
Okay.
she owns
So
that
when you-
property.
Yeah, when you go
Yeah,
back
from the window.
That's where Charlie starts.
Yes, Charlie owns like the wood line back up the hillside then, so we're
You
gonna
should
have
do
to-
this, you should
we're
do
gonna have to
that, you should
again,
do the other thing.
From what I know of her, she's really nice, very low key, very approachable.
So about 4 years ago, I bought her, I
Fred's
spent
told me a couple
$160 and I bought her a full
So
suit.
Friends, like I said, pretty good
So
friends.
now she puts it on and she looks like a Pillsbury Doughboy.
He said, yeah, no problem, we'll do it. I just look for a time this weekend that we can link up and just have a chat, and I'll say, hey, look, what sometimes during the week.
Yellow
we can all
jackets,
go
yellow
out and meet
jackets
with
are
her,
bad.
help her come up
Out
with
of
some
the ground.
solutions for this problem. I think obviously one of
Yeah,
them's
I
traffic.
know, that's what
They'll
I.
chase you.
We're gonna, without one.
Oh, I know, I ran
When's beaver season
all
will start?
around the house, all around the garage, coming out.
Well, no, but
It's over,
it's over the end of this
They were
month,
still stingers.
so we don't have a couple
The
of
only thing that's good for it, just get in the
Yeah,
water.
so I think I'm gonna ask,
Find
maybe the
a
first
pond.
person, hey, do you give us permission, cause he seems.
I should've jumped in the pool.
That
Somebody
would have done
She
it.
couldn't trap, I'm like, yeah, you can
Yes, you can.
trap.
Well,
Cause it's, I mean, it's damaging to that property there, you can
Believe
see
it or not, you're allowed.
But it was February or something, it was, no,
This water like that.
it was early
Really?
spring.
The worst thing that Linda's doing is
But you're allowed
she's
24 per day.
hyperventilating over what's going on in
Actually,
the country.
hope we don't catch it, because
Oh,
the kid wants it now.
I am too,
She's scared to death.
Party
This thing's
means
already
money.
priced out.
She's not gonna be.
Scared.
Oh, yeah, considering it's actually was colder last week and said
Man,
that
at
the
the-
ducks and geese were gonna be down, it's 3,800.
It didn't snow.
She's mad at
Why?
us.
You think that's trying to give me, what's gonna cost me that much money, cause y'all gonna have to
That's
now.
what-
And lack of common sense.
You're going down to deep
And the lack of
Why would you let
awareness.
10 million people
Goose
into
meat, you
this
know how much that
country
stuff costs a pound?
and not know who they are?
$300 a pound. When you add
Yeah,
up
I
the
think
shells,
we ought to
the
give
gun,
every
the employees, the license.
citizen the right to
Yeah,
I'm sure it's
defend
a buddy of mine,
themselves.
his name is Dave
Because
Rice,
they certainly
Dave Rice,
violate
is an
the
outrageous tax
Constitution.
back in the
You know, I'm
70s.
surprised that hasn't
Early
happened.
70s, so these guys-
At
most
least
of
in
these guys,
Texas, they have-
all coming back from
They have a lot of guns in Texas. I'm surprised they haven't started
First
shooting
sergeant,
these
senior sergeant, to come-
these
have you guys all seen that, we were.
migrants coming across the border.
Sergeant Major Plumley, think of a guy like that, okay,
I'm glad they're-
very seasoned.
I don't know, I don't know the answers.
Like,
I do know
this guy's
the
nobody you
answers.
mess with. And that just kinda sets.
Then they
this-
killed that
So Dave is
that
wired.
nursing
to
student in
He ends
Georgia.
up my radio operator, I'm a young female. He lives, David Wax, is that name ring a bell?
No, it's,
David
it's
Wax,
just,
on the fashion bug out.
those kinds of things just
He and his family had
wear
a
them
get
all day long.
out just outside of
There's
town.
another one
He
that's-
keep anybody, he was like the
What's
man,
even worse
the property
is
man.
that there was
What if this guy had emus,
a fight in Kentucky
geese?
where one
So I come out
girl
one
took
time,
another
right,
girl and
there's
slammed her
David
head
out, and
on the roadway. They got in,
where's David? Go,
met through a fight.
Where's
This
David?
little
He's in his truck, and he told me to come
girl
out to
and
this.
this other girl that was with her. It's just terrible. The way I had this, it made me sick to my stomach. I just,
$800 for the keys,
oh
and
my
the keys,
gosh,
he's
it's
like,
bad
yeah,
enough
take
we
it out,
have,
keys. And you just see,
I don't know what's wrong with people.
you see his puppet feathers.
Pillowcase.
Holy crap! He's like, you're gonna shoot.
There's no patience and no grace in him.
He's just knocking around.
And
So then one time I was out there, we were out there for a meeting. Me and the friends, we were going to hang out, we were drinking. And the English was, them fast. That's fast.
Oh, you think wrong. I was thinking wrong.
We can just tell you that the rule of law adoption.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Alright, so
I'm
then,
flying
you good?
shoes.
Grab it up.
You have that.
Good.
You know,
You got steel to it?
probably, it was very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable.
Alright, there's no further motions to be made, anyone like to make a motion to adjourn at 8:15?
I'll make that motion, we adjourn at 8:15.
Second.
I second we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jeff,
8:15.
8:15.